When the conversation about correct terminology comes up regarding a person with dwarfism, the M word, or the word midget, never escapes the conversation. While there seems to be a bit of confusion on what is the correct terminology, it is necessary for us to educate those who are willing to learn. The correct terminology, or should I say the most accepted terminology, is little person, or LP for short. Persons of short stature or a person with a form of dwarfism are also acceptable since they properly describe the person. The term dwarf is acceptable to most people with a form of dwarfism, yet most people rather be referred to by their name rather than a label. On the other hand, the word midget is considered highly offensive to the dwarfism community. It is used by some little people in certain situations where they feel that they can profit from the shock value of the word. Most often, they're technically not midgets at all. And to get a better understanding, you need to understand the origin of the word and a brief history of the word midget. While these days the word midget is employed all too frequently, mostly as an epithet to taunt short-statured individuals, that wasn't always the case. And part of the problem in attempting to discourage the use of the word midget currently is that it once was routinely and comfortably used in the entertainment world. Midget is a term that was originally coined in 1865. Referred to a person who was extremely short, whose limbs were proportionate to the rest of their body. P.T. Barnum from Barnum and Bailey Circus indirectly helped popularize midget when he began featuring General Tom Thumb, who's a little person, in his circus. By 1884, it referred to an extremely small person who was publicly exhibited as a curiosity or spectacle for the public's amusement in freak shows or circuses. Until a few decades ago, even in the medical world, midget was in common use. Some physicians employed the word to refer to a person who was very small and proportionate, most often as a result of a growth hormone deficiency. Dwarf, on the other hand, was used to differentiate this category from individuals who were small and disproportionate, most often as a result of various cartilage and bone disorders. Their conditions were medically known as forms of skeletal dysplasias. While proportionate dwarfism is quite rare today because of medical advances, people still refer to individuals who are small and disproportionate as midgets. If the word were still considered acceptable today, the reference would in fact be incorrect. When the topic of disassociating people with a form of dwarfism from the word midget comes up, people often begin to rant that the world is too politically correct, or you can't say anything, and you can't say anything anymore, and so on. And this has always been fascinating since this seems to happen only to smaller minority groups, such as the dwarfism community. When dealing with larger minority groups that have larger numbers in society and who pose a threat either by force, financially, or through boycott, the rants seem to silence. Unfortunately, many people do not understand the effect a negative label has on a person. If you take a moment to say to yourself, oh, what if this was me or my loved one? How would that affect us? Just then might you begin to understand. The words that you choose are actually a reflection of yourself and a judgment against your character. Because it only takes the willingness to basically understand that such labels negatively affect a person's chance to succeed in life. And it simply takes common courtesy not to refer to someone as a term or label that they themselves see offensive. Many times when justifying the reason that the M word is considered offensive, a comparison is made to the N word. This comparison often brings up the argument of, one cannot compare the history of both these words. And while this is true, as it is with any offensive or hurtful term, they are labels which at times become a person's only identity. And they're hurtful labels, and again, they're labels which decrease a person's chance to succeed in life. The history of people with a form of dwarfism is far from picture perfect. Today, people with a form of dwarfism are creating their own direction, which challenges the stereotypes and stigmas placed on them from the past, from the beginning of mankind. They are the most recent minority groups to join the identity procession that marks the last decade of the 20th century and continues into the 21st. Very much like the path of women, African Americans, gay, lesbians, and persons with disabilities, the dwarfism community is eager to explore their history, to clarify their identity, and to claim a rightful seat at society's table. A place where people with a form of dwarfism are understood, recognized as positive contributors to society, and treated as seen as equal to that of any other group or person. While the history of any two words may differ in many ways, the fact that a group is willing to work towards a common goal to secure a brighter future for themselves is something that we all share in common.